Roll call. So,
Skip Dempsey present.
okay, Tom Smith is present.
Jared Holter present.
Okay, and we have Zach Peterson is present. We have Manda Jackson, our attorney, is present, and Eric, our city administrator, is present. And we also have two older people. Welcome, Diane Wolf and Kim Smith. All right, item number 2, approval of the minutes from the previous meeting.
Move to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Okay, motion by Skip. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Jared. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 3, public input. If you like a public input, we are limited to 3 minutes. You're welcome to come up, give your name, your address, and we will have 3 minutes. So, good afternoon.
My name is Larry Poya, 626 Gilster Street, Onalaska, Wisconsin. And I would like to make a few comments on item 6 of your agenda. I'm here this afternoon to urge you to vote against the plan to the rezoning of the properties along PH. I live outside the circle that is shown on the map what properties would be affected by this rezoning. But you should realize that this zoning will affect that whole area. When during the council meeting of April 10th, 2018, when Mr. Bronston was asking for a rezoning to develop his business, a comment was made by an alderperson that construction at this site would include another exit and may make the site traffic neutral. This means that there would be no added congestion to this site. The primary source of traffic now comes off of 157 and turns left off of Jansen Place, which is in the city of La Crosse, to 157. PH is the main entrance to these properties and the fastest way for emergency vehicles to reach us. Last week, coming home about 7 p.m., there was a traffic gridlock. A person was trying to turn left into that business because he could not turn left because the traffic on PH was trying to turn right on 157. So that whole area was blocked off. So he sat there trying to turn into the business and seeing he couldn't go anywhere, the traffic coming off of 157 was backing up, which makes that, to me, a very dangerous situation. If an emergency vehicle wanted to get through there, it probably would have taken a few minutes for them to get through. And as everybody knows, a few minutes could make the difference between life or death. So anyway, I guess the streets out there are not designed for the traffic. I've lived out there for 52 years, and I've seen the changes and everything else. I know that growth is necessary, but why try changing a nice residential area into commercial properties? I'm wondering, has a traffic count ever been made out there? Because right now, in the period between 2013 and 2017, there were 69 accidents at this intersection.
Yeah, about
It is rated
seconds left, okay?
It is rated 5 out of 12 of the worst intersections in this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your input. Okay, next person. Kim?
Good evening. My name is Kim Smith. I live at 436 Mayfair Place in Onalaska. I'm also the 3rd District Representative to City Council. I want to thank you guys for all the work you've been doing on the zoning project rewrite. I know it was much needed, much overdue, and much appreciated. So I just want to ask that you take time and listen to these residents, and they are my neighbors, they're your neighbors. Because I think what we're speaking about here, myself included, is that this isn't a situation where they're just saying not in my backyard. This is about stating what are the values of our community. And to me, one of the things that makes Onalaska the most desirable place to live is our neighborhoods. And we need to protect those neighborhoods By changing this zoning and making it more easily possible for additional commercial and retail encroachment into the neighborhood, you break down the barrier that separates the neighborhood from the surrounding retail and commercial. This residential area, this neighborhood, was actually, when the tax assessment was done this past year, this neighborhood increased in value higher than the citywide average. This is a very desirable neighborhood to live in, as stated by property values increasing. So while we understand change is necessary and growth is important for our community, we also need to remember that what makes our community a great place to live is our residential areas, and we ask that you not break down the boundary for this neighborhood in one wild swoop, but let it remain residential, and when situations arise in the future, such as they did with the Bronston development, we can consider them carefully one by one. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Is anyone else? Public input? Again, just state your name and where your address, please.
My name is Mark Shepard. I live at 1221 County Road PH on Alaska. We have a beautiful community there. Unfortunately, we were reassessed and our property value went up almost 30%, and our property tax went up $720. Now, we're both on fixed income, you know, and if this, hopefully this isn't a way to get people to sell their property, because that's just not very fair. We have a gorgeous house, and we'd like to live there. Our friends and neighbors want to live there as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone else would like to do public input? Good afternoon.
Hi. Hello, my name is Marcia Horvath, and I live at 1205 County Road PH, and I'm here to discuss the proposed rezoning of the south end of that County Road PH. Hoisington Kegler Group that is suggesting this zoning change is in Minneapolis. They aren't all that familiar with this town or this neighborhood. They are saying this neighborhood is no longer valid as R1, but I disagree. This area is currently well established and filled with affordable single-family homes, something this city needs. There are already nearby places that could be developed that don't have to encroach on our neighborhood. Shopko, Payless Shoes, Carlos O'Kelly's, Bamboo House, TGI Fridays, the space next to U.S. Cellular and Crossroads Center, and 2 spaces in the Bronston Complex expansion all stand empty, not to mention the empty spaces in Valley View Mall and the soon-to-be vacated Gap outlet store. The residents of this neighborhood can already walk or bike to nearby stores and restaurants. We don't need more. I like this neighborhood as it is and would really like it to remain under residential single-family zoning. 2 of the affected homes have sold within the last year and a half, and the most recent one sold for $16,000 over the asking price. To me, that says this is a viable residential district. If zoning is changed from R1, the people living here will no longer have any say about what's happening in their neighborhood. No warning of changes to come, and no place to voice their concerns about those changes. That doesn't seem fair to the citizens whose homes have been here for decades. I've been told that since Act 67 passed in the state legislature, it makes no difference if the area is rezoned to MUN, because conditional use permits can no longer be denied. But I would argue that developers wouldn't be as likely to try to go into areas zoned R1 as they would areas zoned MUN. We submitted a petition, and this is a copy of it. We got 87 people that signed in the neighborhood, and overwhelmingly don't want these houses to be rezoned to MUN. We have signatures from people in each of the affected houses, as well as many surrounding neighbors. Please do not ignore the entire neighborhood's objections to this proposed rezoning. Also, I would like to take a moment to thank Julie and Dick McGarry for their tremendous help with the petition pages. If this area is rezoned, I envision it going commercial bit by bit in a scattershot manner, and I really don't want to see that happen here. These are people's homes, not just lot numbers. Please leave the R1 zoning in place for our neighborhood. Thank you.
Marcia, did you submit those petition with the, do we have them?
Yeah.
We do have them, okay. I just wanted to make sure we have it. All right, thank you, okay. Anyone else like to voice public input? Hey there.
Hello, my name's Tony Horvath. I live at 1205 County Road PH, and I'm here to discuss the proposed rezoning of the south end of County Road PH, going from R1 to MUN. This change would put us in limbo, make us question doing anything to improve our homes, because the MUN zoning would never know, we would never know what's going to happen to the properties around us that can make our expenditures and efforts be of little or no value. The main difference between MUC, which was first proposed, and MUN zoning, which is now being proposed, is that you'd be able to rebuild your home after a catastrophic event such as a fire. But many of the same commercial businesses could be built at any time, and the surrounding properties wouldn't know they were coming or be able to voice their opinions about it. MUN zoning focuses on residential, but R1 zoning does that even more so. Just look at the side-by-side comparisons of what is shown allowed in R1 zoning versus what's allowed in MUN zoning. You can see that there's a lot more things allowed with MUN. I brought copies of the comparison that can be passed out, and this is revised, or excuse me, this is based on the revised principal use table. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. You can give it to Zach. We'll make sure it's in the record. Thank you. Yes, next. Good afternoon.
Hello, I'm Richard C. McGarry Sr. I live at 1220 County Road, PH, about 40-plus years there. You may not realize, but if you rezone the homes along the south leg of PH from single-family residential R1, you will be putting many of us in a stressful situation. Some of us have lived there for a long time, and while others may have just moved in. All of us have expected to stay in our homes until we are in need of leaving, or because of age, illness, a job relocation, or some other factor. With a rezoning to mixed-use neighborhood, we do not know what the future will hold for us. None of us want to find our home in the midst of commercial encroachment. Those of us who have lived here for decades have worked at getting to know our neighbors and Mayfair neighborhood and improving our homes and watching out for each other. We have made it a nice community to live in for our children to grow up in. Because of this, as some of us older folks leave, homes sell quickly, sometimes over asking price, and younger people, often with families, are moving in. Onalaska has become an increasingly affluent city with good schools and is sought after place to buy a home and to settle down. I'd like to think our neighborhood is part of the reason. Our home values and property taxes took a jump last year, and I'm repeating what someone earlier said. Our practice quite a jump last year during the last assessment. It is my understanding that our neighborhood had the highest increase in the city. If that doesn't say we are a vibrant and thriving neighborhood, what does? Do you really want to rezone us and take our R1 single-family zoning away from us? I hope not.
Thank you. Thank you for your input. Anyone else with public input? Yeah, just give it to Zach for right now. Thank you. We'll make sure it gets in the record.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Good afternoon, early evening. I'm Julie McGarry, and I have lived at 1220 County Road, PH for 43 years. We know that you, the Plan Commission, want to do what's best for the city of Onalaska. That means what's best for its citizens. This includes we citizens who live in the Mayfair neighborhood along the south leg of County Road PH that has been targeted for rezoning from single-family residential to mixed-use neighborhood. By looking at the list, I believe you have that compares the uses of the single-family residential and mixed use. You will see what a change rezoning would do to this area. Since all of us in the Mayfair neighborhood are citizens of Onalaska, you are charged with doing what's best for us as citizens of this great city. 100% of the 12 homes along this portion of PH want to remain single-family residential. That's what we think is best for us, and we certainly hope you think that's best for us. We live in an affordable, middle-class neighborhood where neighbors have constantly been making improvements to their home. We care about each other and believe in preserving the integrity of our neighborhood. Homes do sell quickly here when they come on the market. If zoning is changed, what does that do to the lack of middle-income, single-family housing in the city of Onalaska? If you do rezone us to MUN, what message are you sending to other citizens in Onalaska, to other neighborhoods, and even future citizens? We've always thought of Onalaska as a great place to live and raise a family. That's why we've been so active and interested in preserving the quality of our neighborhood for over 4 decades. When we were annexed to the city of Onalaska in 1981, we were told that we would remain a residential area. 1981, that'll be a lot of years coming up in 2021. So we want you to remember that basically what we were told a long time ago has been maintained. And we also want to thank you and others, past members of the Plan Commission, for all the work you do and for supporting us over all these years. And we, with our desire to remain R1 as part of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to give public input?
My name is Dave Cowie. I live at 1208 County Road, PH. Every last one of us have bought these homes and have been very, very comfortable with it. And what I don't understand is how somebody can come in and say, we're going to do this. We're going to rezone this. This is what we want. Now, shouldn't you ask us if that's what we want to do? Because this is where we live, not you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to do public input?
My name is Ryan Beach. I live at 1203 County Road, PH. I don't have anything new to add other than I also do not want the rezoning to happen. I've sent emails. There was 3 email addresses I was given. I've sent emails to all of them. And I know there's another meeting coming up on the 17th. I will not be able to attend that. But if I could, I'd be here saying the same thing then as I am tonight. So I just, please leave us as residential. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Anybody else wishing to give up public input? A second call. Oh, go ahead.
My name is Jensine Wing. I live at 1221 County Road, PH. I agree with all these people here who are just actually begging to keep this as a residential area. I've been through a lot of crises in the last 5 years, and there's someplace these people have been there for me every step of the way, right down to chipping ice out of my driveway so I could be safe. I don't want to have to lose this. I've never been any place, never lived anywhere where this kind of neighborhood exists. Please leave it the way it is for us.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to give public input? Second call. Anybody else wishing to give public input? And final call. Anybody else wishing to give public input? Okay, thank you. Our public input session is closed. We will move on to item number 4, review and consideration of invoice number 018-2021-18 from Hossington Colger Group Incorporated for UDC zoning rewrite project. Zach or Jared, somebody want to speak on that?
Attached is the 18th invoice for the UDC zoning ordinance rewrite project totaling $11,615.75.
Okay. And it is attached here. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we forward this recommending approval to the full commission.
Okay, motion by Skip. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Jared. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question here. When the original contract was made by the council, did they consider that firm, or did they consider that sort of a, well, we'll start here and it may run up more than that because this is such a large project? I mean, is the overrun, did the council see that an overrun might occur, or is this a surprise?
Would you like to, either Jared or Administrator, because I know there's questions come up before, so I know, who would like to answer that? Amanda or Jared?
Yeah, so,
Jared?
so with the original contract, with the scope of services that was outlined for the consultant, once we got into the actual rewrite to the code, there was, for instance, a lot of things that were in the zoning code that were public works related, such as street standards, sanitary sewer items, water items. Those are all going to get moved to the public works section of the ordinance that between myself and the city attorney will work on in the coming months. But the actual consultant worked on a lot of that work to try and get it ready to move into the public works area. And then once you get into it, it was just a lot of public input, meetings and things, and with what the consultant got into, it just ended up between the public works part of it and the extra work on the items that were added outside the scope. It just ended up, this is what it ended up at. I will note that we will hold the last payment, because this does go up to the full contract amount that was approved via change order by the Common Council. So until we get a final product, we'll keep the last payment as retainage until we get to the point where we have the project done.
Thank you.
Answer your question? Okay. Any other further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 5, review and consideration of easement agreement for 1785 East Main Street, Onalaska, 54650. Who would like to speak on that? Zach?
Thank you. This property was approved for a conditional use permit on November 22nd, 2005 by the Plan Commission to install a telecommunication facility at 1735 East Main Street, Onalaska. Common Council then gave it final approval on December 13th, 2005. Attached are the documents related to the conditions of the conditional use permit and conditions related to the site plan permit. Further background information of this property can be found in the attached letter. Acme Commercial Properties, LLC, will be providing a proposed easement agreement for consideration at the upcoming Plan Commission meeting. The action requested: Acme Commercial Properties, LLC would like to work with the city to clarify and acknowledge the access to the communication tower by entering into a formal easement agreement with the city of Onalaska.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we forward item 5 to the full Plan Commission recommending approval.
Okay. Motion by Skip. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jared. Any discussion?
Yeah. Thinking back, wasn't this always on city property?
No, so what happened was this was on the Brusky property. And then Brusky divided the land and they sold the cell tower, and then they transferred the land with, Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, they transferred the land with the access road to the city. And so they kind of had an inherent easement when it was owned by one individual that never got formalized, and they're looking to formalize arguably what they were promised by the Bruskis.
That is correct. Mr. Bruschi owned the land, and it had the cell phone tower came through, got approved, was built, and then shortly thereafter, the city purchased the land for green space. And the easement never got recorded, never got finalized between Mr. Bruschi and the cell phone tower company. And that's actually a different cell phone tower company, actually owns the tower now. So they're going through due diligence and trying to get all the access easements cleaned up so they have proper access.
It seems like we should have done that when we did that way back. I was on the Plan Commission at that time, and I don't remember any problem with it, so I guess something we overlooked. So I think it's something that should be done now.
Oh, this is an existing tower, right? It's already there, so this is just a matter of getting the easement to formalized, right?
Yeah, I've been up there and looked at it, and when they first put it in, and I thought it was on city property myself.
Yeah, I did too. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried. Item number 6, discussion and consideration of proposed zoning for County Road PH properties. How would we like to do this? Anyone to get in discussion, or Zach, you
I can start by giving a just brief explanation, and most neighbors tonight have voiced their concerns, but this relates to the PH rezoning from R1 to MUN. So neighbors are concerned about the proposed rezoning from R1 to MUN. City staff met with multiple residents a number of times to discuss the implications of the proposed zoning, and residents are seeking to maintain the zoning in this area as R1 low-density residential. The purpose of the R1 low-density residential district is to, only the bottom half, is to encourage the establishment and preservation of neighborhoods with single household detached dwellings. The action requested is that city staff is asking that the Plan Commission make a determination of whether the 12 properties in question should stay R1 or be proposed to be rezoned to MUN in the comprehensive rezoning map. This action does not approve the rezoning, but gives direction to staff on what zoning to include in the new zoning map.
So we're just asking tonight that you refer it to Plan Commission for full Plan Commission review without recommendation.
Any discussion?
I'll make a motion that we forward this to the full commission with no recommendation, because I feel that they should hear what the citizens have to say before any decision is made.
Motion by Skip. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
I'll second that too. Or you'll second it, Jared? Okay. All in favor? Well, any discussion first? Jared?
I would just hope that the Plan Commission members listen to the, look at the minutes for the meeting before the next meeting. So, I mean, everyone's obviously welcome to come back and give more public input next week, but obviously, hopefully that public input that we had tonight will resonate with the Plan Commission members.
And I'd like to say that too. I'd encourage you, if you can, come back again, because the full Planning Commission, this is the subcommittee, so the full one will be next week. So, and a lot of you have already been here a couple of times, I know, because we already seen many of you before. But that will be the full one that will actually take it and make that recommendation to the council. So if you can come back to, I would encourage you, because I think the public input is very, very important. Yeah. So, and so we'd be very open to have that both documented and just in person. It makes a big difference, so. Yes.
I'd like to make a comment here. This is a very difficult situation, because looking at it from a long-range planning standpoint now, I think that this action is really best for all of the citizens of the city of Onalaska. On the other hand, you have to take into account the people that are living there now and how they feel. And from that standpoint, I feel we should not have it. So I say, yes, we should approve it. No, we shouldn't. Yeah. So I think we need to listen to this whole thing from the commission standpoint.
Thank you, Skip. And I agree. I think we really do need to get the Planning Commission, get their thoughts, and then really the ultimate decision needs to go to the council. So, all right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, I'm entertaining a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Okay, motion by Skip. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jared. Any discussion? Okay, we are adjourned at 5 PM. Thank you, everybody, for coming to them.
You agree with me on the planning, on that item?